Welcome to the Rad Dad Redemption Podcast. Here's your hosts, Drew and Dex.
All right, I had to make sure I actually did hit the button. We're good. We're running.
You have a whole thing with the Coke Zero.
I love Coke Zero. I drink way too much of it.
And that's fine. I think Diet Pop's chill, but like you exclusively drink Coke Zero pre-drinking.
I like a little caffeine buzz.
Okay.
Yeah, a little caffeine buzz, and then you start drinking. Mm-hmm. It allows you to drink more and for longer. There's a tip, kids.
Yeah, there you go.
for all of our under 18 listeners.
Well, you did that last night in the man soup hot tub.
Yeah, I knew man soup was going to come up.
It was first thing on the docket.
Yeah.
So we were having a hot tub with the boys, and no boys came. It was like Dex, Dan, and my wife.
Yeah.
My boy. And
she's one of the boys.
She's my B friend. I love her. But it was hilarious because you had this like whole bit worked out where you wore a thong.
I wore like a male G-string. And it was too small.
Leave nothing to the imagination. Like it was right up there.
Oh, that string was in my ass.
Hungriest butt all time. And so he was like, you, Dex, the guy. We have guests in the studio and we haven't let them talk yet. That's why I'm speaking to them. But you pulled your pants down. And what was your line? What did you say?
My line, and I had my ass facing you. You were already in the hot tub. And I was like...
Nice ass.
I was like, hey, just so you guys know, my trunks shrunk last time I washed them. And I pulled down my pants and all you saw was 2 big old eggs. And a little slice down the middle.
2 medium-sized to small eggs. It was absolutely epic. But what Dex didn't know is that my wife was joining us.
Yeah.
And so we get in the hot tub and she comes in last. And it's like dark, we're hanging out and we're just silent. And she got the notion. She's like, what's going on? What's so funny?
Yeah.
Why is everyone being so quiet? And then Dunny reached over and turned on the light, just like the hot tub light. And it just like accentuated these biddies.
And she looks over at me and she's like, what the fuck is Dex wearing? Immediately. And it was a valid response because like I said, it was way too small. My balls were hanging out the side of the little front pouch. And yeah, she was not, I don't think she was like super stoked on it either because she kept saying how she has to shock the tub and drain it. And like,
she put you on blast.
Yeah.
She was like, we're going to have to drain this tub, chemical it, which was an interesting process because we're all of our dicks are in there.
And I showered right before I went to your house. I was very clean. I was the cleanest I've been all day.
Welcome to the Rad Dad Redemption Podcast. My guy.
What a start, hey?
What a start. I just want to put it out there that we are having one of the most chilling type vibes that we've had. Oh my God. And we're really excited about tonight because what's going on, D?
We have the talented, the incredible, the local
Adil Dazim.
Natural Ensemble.
Natural Ensemble.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
as one of the 5 listeners of this podcast, I'm incredibly honored to be here. It's surreal.
Yeah, actually, most of our listenership is at this table right now.
Yeah, I don't think Bren listens.
No, I did some catching up before.
Okay, well, thank you.
The podcast.
Appreciate that.
Brendan, be honest. Exactly how many podcasts have you listened to?
I followed up with the last 2.
Okay,
Not
so
the
he's
Mother's
too
Day
deep.
one,
He's
but
too deep.
previous 2.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
Well, why don't you take a minute? I mean, we want to introduce you, but I think it's best from the horse's mouth. Who do we have here with us? Who is the Natural Ensemble?
Geeze, Josh Geeze from Okotoks, and B-Ren.
And B-Ren,
Yeah.
DJ producer extraordinaire, of course.
Hell yeah. I like that. Thank you so
If
much
you
for coming
don't
on.
know, now you know.
Yeah, and I do assume that you guys are you are the more famous in this group of duos here.
I think that turning 30 leveled the playing field. It was like an automatic reset for everyone. I don't know how much street cred we have anymore. We might be back to 0. So it's good.
We're bringing it back. We're gonna get you like 60 listens, boys.
And
Dozens.
That's our goal, is to really restoke the fire of Natural Ensemble with this podcast.
You know what's funny is there's probably a lot of overlap between our fans and already existing Natural Ensemble fans.
Hell yeah.
I feel like there's...
Okotoks people have nothing else to do.
Yeah, we're not exposing you to a lot more listeners.
It's not
Get that out of your head right now.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah, why did you agree to do this? It's because we're friends.
It's because we're friends. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
to do you a favor and bring you at least 3 more listeners.
I hope
That's
so.
The goal.
I hope you'll share it.
Yeah. hell
Bram,
yeah.
what are you bringing to the table?
I'm just a fan of the podcast from the 2 episodes. That
You're two good ones.
Huge fan.
What did you think?
You know what? I'm impressed with the production value of the podcast.
Shut your fucking face.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jokes aside,
yeah.
listening from like the beginning to now, it's actually crazy because it was borderline unwatchable.
Yeah.
Unlistenable.
That's
Sorry.
fair. No, I know what
Unlistenable.
you mean. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then now it's honestly, you guys have got a good rhythm, good flow. I push you guys on everyone. Anytime like podcasts come up, I push you guys. I think that it's actually really good. So
Thanks,
bravo.
buddy.
Aw,
Yeah,
thank
man.
you.
Great cast.
Very sentimental.
Yeah, so good. Well, we wanted to do something special. I scoured Okotoks for 40 ounces of Old English.
Hell yeah, brother.
I would have accepted Big Bear. I thought a little malt liquor would have been appropriate, but apparently it's not it's not a thing. It's not for sale.
Old School Max did not have it.
Yeah, well, I went to Co-op, I went to Safeway, and I went to Royal. I thought Royal was like, that's the spot.
Yeah.
That is the 40 ouncer spot. So if any listeners out there have a line on some
Where to get 40?
on some malt liquor, we're interested.
Were
But
you guys at the May Long when the guy did the Edward 40 hands, but then fell down?
no.
He had like the 40s duct taped to his hands at McLean Creek, the legendary McLean Creek May Long.
The McLean Creek.
The McLean Creek. I don't know. I think it was when we were in grade 12, maybe grade 11. But a guy had the Edward 40s and he fell down after they were empty and just, was too drunk to handle getting the duct tape off. It was awful.
Oh,
Yeah.
poor guy.
Yeah, fair
And
enough.
nobody helped him out.
How is the guy?
That
Who is
guy's
this guy?
still at McLean Creek right now.
I don't know if you remember what May Long was
May
like
Long
back
got
in the
him.
day, but it was a battle zone. It was war out there. Yeah, I don't know where he's at.
We used to do Edward 40 hands, and we used to drink a lot of 40s. That was a thing.
That was the way to go when you were like underage drinking.
Hell yeah.
And you had limited budget, but maximum wanting to get drunk. A 40 was the way to go.
I had a crazy line on them. So I worked at the Ford dealership, and I washed cars. So I fucking wash them, their hand like that. And I was only allowed to work 8 hours on the Saturday. So you come in, work till 4, but the dealership was open till 6. And people would sell cars, and they'd have like deliveries. They'd be like, "Can you please stay till 5, whatever, wash this car, wash this F350." And like, I need it clean for this delivery, and I had to clock out. And so I had like a system with all the salesmen there where like, I will stay late, but you will walk over to, I think it was, what was it, Crowfoot Liquor Store by In Cahoots?
Yeah.
And it was like, for 1 hour, I want 3 Big Bears. And so I'd work 2 extra hours on Saturday and get 6 Big Bears. And Ross and I, it was an event. We'd even open them up so they get a little, less carbonation so you could drink them faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want them taped to your hands. Go down to the train station, watch a metal show, puke in the bottle, finish it.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Speaking of which, all right, look out, boys. Oh,
Hey.
Crystal.
I love some. I love.
Hell yeah. All right, Dex, take it away while I pour this shit.
When in
homie.
Rome. Okay, well, while Drew's pouring that, I'm gonna pull up the questions we have. How did let's go back to the beginning, back to the jump, as the kids would say. How did Natural Ensemble get its start? Like, how did you two connect and start making music?
Well, I knew early on that I would one day be the 6th best white rapper in Okotoks. And so
Yeah. I did too, buddy.
I was doing road construction, and I was like operating one of these machines where it was really repetitive. So I had all day, and I just was playing instrumentals, and I was a dork. So I was writing songs, kind of writing raps. And I don't know, you share it with people. People start to like talk about it a little bit, and it got a good feel from people. So then you go to house parties and people want you to rap. And I actually don't know exactly who introduced me to Brennan, but we were at the Taylors, and there was like a fire pit bonfire party.
Like the
over
farm?
there.
You're
We were
ripping
at
out
the
there?
farm.
Hell
That's
yeah.
where we met.
Yep.
And if I recall correctly,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And then I don't know who introduced us, but Brennan had like drums. I don't know what your credentials were at that time, at that moment in time. Do you know?
Yeah, like I
You had a Mac.
over years of collecting instruments and playing various instruments. I sold everything to buy my first car, and then right around that time, I had met you, and the only instrument I had left was my parents' computer, which
Right.
enabled me to make beats. And do you guys remember a bit of a name drop here? Stuart Barcelo,
Oh,
Stewie.
Maddie
shout out to
Valentine.
Stu, man.
Yeah, Dexter's elite performance. Matty Valentine, fucking
Yeah.
from England and shit.
I miss Stu, man. I hope he's good.
Those boys tracked me down to make them a beat. And
No.
it was
They
that
were
was my
fucking rapping?
first that was my first
Oh my
forte into
God.
beat making. They checked me down and said, "Do you think you can make a beat?" And I said,
Why don't I
think
remember
so."
that at all?
And I swear I got a copy of it. But that
What did they call
launched me
themselves?
into making beats, and then we had the link up between the two of us.
That's
at
incredible.
Taylor's.
Guys, we owe Natural Ensemble to Stuart Barcelo and Matt Valentine. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing that I didn't know.
Can you imagine if that took off and this never happened?
Yeah, they're our next guests.
They've
I'm
actually had
so
a much
into that.
more successful
Just bring
career.
him back on. I think Matt joined the fucking Navy or some shit. He was like a real tough guy. That was a real thing. I remember
started
you.
mixed reviews.
You were like prior to Natural Ensemble hip hop, and not to label you, but I'm gonna fucking label you. You were definitely like a Lexus on fire, like skateboard, like rock kid.
Yeah, for sure. I went through phases in my life that came with different genres of music as I went, and then when I met you guys essentially in the years of the Composite High School ages, I guess. That was the vibe at that time. Lexus on fire, punk skateboarder, and I think just out of necessity of needing to play music and do something, all I had was a computer and hip hop. So
That's so cool.
Everything changed.
I remember we were in I forget what they called it, like infotech or something, that elective class you could do.
Yes.
And I always remember you were editing like really cool skateboard videos.
Yeah,
I think like
skateboarding and snowboarding, being a punk kid was the vibe.
Yeah.
That's crazy that while you were doing cool shit, I was just over there like, I could do it. I remember listening to literally like 50 Cent songs and being like, listening to the verse and like the actual like writing and being like, this isn't rocket science.
I don't
Like,
think this
could
guy's very good.
I don't think he's very good. I was like, I think that everything combined makes it a bop, makes it something people want to listen to. But I was like, I can do that. I think I could write better than that at the very least. So then that is literally what started it all.
And no diss to Stuart Barcelo or Matty Valentine, the MCs that they are, but you were the first MC that I heard that was like, he's worth the
This
work
could be-
that I'm going to put into like making beats, and like this is actually something that could be successful, I suppose, when we first kind of.
Well, there goes two listeners.
Yeah.
Stewie just fucking hung it up.
Yeah. Oh man, I hope Stu's good.
Yeah, he's good. I
And
think he's
the
got
rest-
kids and shit. I used to work with him at Dexter's Elite Performance. Remember that?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, getting beefed.
he used to train me.
Stewie did.
Yeah.
He was yoked
yeah,
up.
hell yeah.
Stewie's one of the nicest guys I think I've
Truly.
ever met too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got the Crystal. Cheers to you
Chris
boys.
Stahl.
Clinky and
Cheers,
drinky.
gentlemen.
This is
Clinky.
bougie.
If you could hear me doing that in the background, that's what that was.
Yeah, hell yeah.
To Natural Ensemble. Thank you for coming on.
Cheers. Thanks for having us.
Oh.
So was the thought process you
What's
couldn't
that?
get 40s, so you went the other way and got something fancy?
Well, like I mean, the classic rap video is like the Cristal, right?
true.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah,
I was
okay.
trying to get, I was looking for Hennessy too. Also expensive.
Hennessy's very expensive.
Yeah. And I don't like it.
No, Hennessy's not good.
Just dry heaving on the mic. Let's get.
Oh, this is so cool. I think Hennessy is one of those things that's popular because it's expensive. Like it's there's
mean-
like studies that people do where it's like the price tag on something makes something more wanted, right?
And Nas is like a huge sponsor, if not owner of Hennessy, so I think he pushes it. So
Is Hennessy a brand? See,
it's
that's how
cool.
fucking. I don't even know.
Yeah, I think Hennessy is
'Cause it's cognac.
owned. Hennessy is owned by the same company that owns like Louis Vuitton, Moet.
Really?
A lot, yeah.
I did not know that.
So B-Ren needed music in his life. He was fucking working on the home computer. Geeze.
Yes.
You were like in construction.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that era. We knew each other then. You had the most tan head on the planet.
Dude, road construction's terrible. Don't
Yeah.
ever do it. Don't ever let your kids do it.
And so you guys met each other, but when did you, other than just listening to 50 Cent, when were you like, I think I might be kind of into this. I'm good at this.
I don't know about good at this, but I was always into poetry, which sounds kind of lame, and I was a huge drama kid. And so it's been an interesting thing throughout my whole kind of musical career, because in hip hop, you're surrounded by people who are like, I am hip hop, like hip hop is my life, And I'm definitely not as much that energy. I'm definitely more of just like a performer, graduated drama kid, and I just didn't have drama anymore after high school, and I needed somewhere to put that energy, somewhere to like, express myself or
A creative outlet.
Exactly. So that it just immediately, I met Brendan right around that time. And from the day we met, it was just like, boom, like we were hanging out all the time, writing, working on songs. We just connected in that way, like immediately. So yeah, the poetry geek drama kid, turns hip hop.
Quick aside, do you remember acting in a play with me?
Yeah. Pillow talk, baby.
Pillow talk.
Okay, who messed up the lines? Was it me or you? I can't remember.
I'm not going to put that on you, but it was absolutely Josh.
That kills me. I'm so sorry. But incredible play. We got so many laughs.
You know what's crazy about that is I wasn't in drama. I was just skipping so much school at the point that I like always found myself around when there was this drama class happening. And I think it was Lori was her name. She had her like drama 30. She had to direct. And she was like, would you be in this play? And I was like, we can do anything.
I think I was scouting you too because I thought you were a year older than us. And you were just so like hilarious and cool in high school. And I was like, and I was new to the comp. I just came over from HTA. So that's part of why I didn't know what grade you were in. But I was just like, I thought you were so funny. And the play is like two characters in bed. I think they're like traveling salesmen or something, staying in the hotel or something like that. And then, so the whole play is in bed.
Yeah.
It's like we're just lying in bed in the
Two guys
conversation.
in bed, yeah.
And the bed is too small, if I remember correctly. Like it's like a single bed, and
Every
it's two
bed
dudes.
is too small for Drew Hoover.
Yo.
Actually, if I can pivot, I don't want to like jump around too much, but you look great after the combine. Like I got in here and your face looks thin. Like you look good, man. You guys have been crushing it.
We've kept it going.
Yeah.
And that was always the play. The combine was cool. And I think we learned a lot, but we both came out of it and we're like, we can see our dicks. Oh my God.
Yeah.
No way.
That was a huge discussion.
Yeah.
That like didn't make it into the Rad Moms episode, the last one. Because but the first iteration was us talking about how we feel we have more dick available.
Yeah, less
No way.
less body to dick
If you
ratio.
lose weight, you get more dick?
No, I think
there's
this dick was always
The
there.
dick is the same.
Dick doesn't change.
There's less around the dick.
There might be some vascular
think
type
The
shit.
the ratio makes more sense.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah, you guys look good.
Yeah, we've been doing it, and we try to walk every time we're golfing and shit. But
Yeah.
you know what? Fuck us. Honestly, we suck. We want to talk about you guys.
No.
Yeah, we're here, and we definitely we wrote down a bunch of shit, but
Sure.
we want to know. So you start rapping. Sounds so corny. You start making music together. How did that
I think
turn into we're gonna play shows, we're gonna
Yeah.
record shit?
Yeah, like was there an inflection point where it was like, hey, we're making some songs, we like having fun, and now it's like, no, we actually need to like do that in front of people and try and
Right.
make something of this.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there was a point in time we were writing and we wanted to do a show, and then I booked this trip to go to Tanzania to do the volunteer and build an addition to a school, and I was out there for like 2 months or so, and in order to raise money for that trip, one of the other members of our group, because our group was a performing arts group that was going out, so there was spoken word artists and dancers and singers, and if I'm not mistaken, one of them, I actually have the poster from this show, but it's the spoken word artist in the group organized a show to raise money for this trip, and I asked if we could play, and I have the poster here.
Get it out.
It's called Testify. I don't know if Brendan's seen this ever.
I remember the show, but I haven't seen this.
Me and
poster since
Brendan
the show.
had been writing, and it was our very first show. It's on 17th Ave at I think it's called the Gallery. It was this incredible clothing hip hop shop, and that's not open anymore. And
we wore suits.
we wore suits. We decided that like our brand was like was like kind of suit wearing style, you know. And it was incredible. Okotoks showed up. Like we were on 17th Ave. I don't think any Calgarians were there. The place was packed from the stage. It was a clothing store, so it was a humble sized spot. But it was like at the back, it had a stage and a DJ booth that was elevated, and it was so cool. The lighting was so cool, and everybody went up and did incredible things. Wakefield Brewster
yeah.
was there, who's like a well known spoken word artist. From Calgary, but we didn't know anybody. We didn't know what we were doing. But we went and Okotoks showed up, totally packed. And there's videos on YouTube, or at least there used to be.
I was going to say, like I've seen videos of this.
Yeah.
I think I went to that, if I'm not mistaken.
No way.
I think I went to that.
It was like half of Okotoks was in this place. And
It's like Small Town Kid. What's that song?
This would have been pre-Small Town Kid. This would have been I Miss and
Yes.
Black Sheep and some of the
Yes.
old, like the pre-burnt CD.
And you were still Geeze at this point.
We didn't have a name yet. We were just writing. We were working in Brennan's basement, but we didn't have a name. This was our first attempt at a show, and it went so good that we were just like, holy shit, we're rock stars. We're just like, we're so fucking rich. Like we're gonna be so fucking
I love at the bottom of the poster it says sliding scale. So you guys, it says $5 or maybe 10 if it's good.
We had slid.
Oh yeah, that's
they're
crazy.
like, we need $10 now. Do you hear these guys?
Yeah.
To truly answer that question, the whole reason we went from basement guys to performing guys was this gentleman right here. This is Mr. Ambition. As soon as we had something like recorded and marketable that we could then perform, it was like, okay, how are we going to go get suits and how are we going to put on a show and perform and
how do we make
what
it
show
more?
are we going to jump onto, who are we going to meet, what are the things that we're going to, like all those things, those are the wheels that were turning in Geeze's brain as we were recording and like hanging out in my parents' basement with pantyhose microphone blocker across the cheap microphone. Like that's, you know what I mean? That's what we were doing.
Yeah.
But I could tell that during that time it was he was always thinking of next steps. Where were we going next? And I was trying to record, but it was a very good yin and yang
Definitely.
relationship.
I feel like we should
there's almost
explain pantyhose microphone.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if all the listeners know what pantyhose microphone is.
Instead of a pop catcher or something that you put in front of an audio recording microphone, if you're singing, it protects against the crackles or pops that you would catch through your voice.
The P's and the S's.
Yeah, and we essentially fashioned one with a coat hanger, my mom's pantyhose that would stretch over the coat hanger that we'd formulate, and then
Cool of your
kinda
mom.
rig it up. Yeah. This is the first time she's hearing about it, so thanks for that.
Yeah, she's like, "Where's all my pantyhose going?"
Like that. Those were the days on the Dell desktop computer at home.
Incredible. Yeah.
So perfect segue then.
Yeah.
When did Natural Ensemble? What was the process like in choosing a name?
Yeah, like you're on that poster as Geeze. When did we become Natural Ensemble?
And an ensemble is more than 2 people.
Is it?
Everyone's silent right now. Like we just like ruined the name.
Sorry, you guys got to change your
Yeah, we
whole
gotta-
shit.
Yeah, ensemble's more than 2 people. It has to be.
I believe so. In the musical set, it doesn't have
Did
to.
you
There's
ever
no
know that?
rules. There's no
I
fucking
did.
rules.
I remember
like
the
a metaphor.
moment, the day that we came up with this name.
I love
remember
this
the
moment.
whole thing.
This was a great moment. I remember
where
this too.
my parents' basement,
Yeah.
and we're sitting in my room on the couch looking at the computer. We just recorded our very first song, like it's fully
Black
recorded.
Sheep's recorded, and
Done.
it's good.
We're listening.
We're
to
surprised
it.
with
We
it
got
being
tears
good.
in our eyes because we're so proud of ourselves.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
awesome.
How amazing we are. And then we're
I
like,
wasn't crying.
we got to come up with a name. We got to come up with a name.
You were crying.
And-
Brent told me this before.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we were just pulling words and jotting stuff down.
We were trying
and
to come up
to
with-
like
yeah.
assemble things. We were looking at the editing software we were using at the time and like pulling just random words we saw off buttons within the editing software, and we were jotting them down, and we were just trying to assemble something that would resemble a hip hop name.
And we were huge fans of like A Tribe Called Quest and,
Yeah.
De La Soul and
Yeah.
just like these kind of wordy,
yeah.
these wordy groups. And so then I don't know, I can't remember exactly how we came across Natural Ensemble, but when we had it written down, we both just kind of like stopped because everything else we were writing sucked. And then we were just like, whoa, this one kind of felt good. And we like looked at it, we like held it up and like put it down and like looked at it again. We like put emphasis into the name pick because we really didn't want to be the people that change names later.
Right.
We didn't want to like switch it up.
Right.
So we put emphasis on
It was
choosing
classy.
it.
It was classy.
And I guess, it's, you know what? We always knew that ensemble's more than 2, obviously.
I'm gonna try to put you on blast.
And so it's a metaphor.
Oh shit, we're all with you.
We're all,
Yeah.
it's an
I saw it as an
ensemble.
ensemble of instruments because as
Hell
a
yeah.
hip hop duo, we are sampling and
Right.
pulling so many different
Oh, it is thoughtful.
you know,
All right.
examples of instruments and genres and whatnot to
And it's the
to
connection
blend in.
between the audience and the
Sure.
artist.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
beautiful. Okay, I gotta know because we did this when we started this venture. We had a list of like failed fucking names.
I think I probably still have that.
like
yeah.
some real bad ones. Was there any was this one night that you guys were sitting and doing this,
One night.
or there was so there's no time where you were like the Crab Shack duo. So, like, yeah, there was-
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Crab
That
Shack
might-
Duo. I
that
know
might
we
have
said
made-
we'd never change it, but
Yeah, that might have made the list. That might have made the list.
No failed names.
We don't. I don't. Didn't register. Yeah, I don't have any recollection.
It was meant to be. It came together like serendipitously, and
Yeah.
it was before you know it. We were that was it.
We didn't want anyone to be able to spell it or remember it or like be able to fit it on a CD when you're writing it. Yeah. So we went with Natural Ensemble. Yeah.
And the name stuck.
And it's stuck, and I actually love it. I love it so much. But okay, so when that happened is I get back from this trip. So we do this trip to Tanzania, and life-changing trip, truly. Like especially because we were 19, 20. I'm going to say 19 at the time. Me and this group of performing artists, and so I get back, and I am completely inspired to try to make a difference. And do something impactful. And I've been writing while I'm out there. I wrote a song to the intro to the XX album, which was like a huge hit at the time. And at the time, there was nobody else that had done that. Now it's really popular. There's like a billion different songs to that. But so I get back from Tanzania, and immediately me and Brendan start planning a show. And it was right around the time that Haiti had been destroyed.
For the first time.
For the first time. This is 2010. And so we pivot. We want to throw a fundraiser for Haiti. And I have a poster here from I think it's 2010. And this is the first time that we throw a show. This is our second show. And Natural Ensemble is on the poster. We aren't headlining. We got the Random Humans from Longview to come out and headline. But we start organizing this fundraiser. Which I believe is the greatest thing that we may have ever done in our whole career, because it was like we brought couches and filled the Elks Hall with like a living room setup. We got artists to donate their art, or at least attempt to sell it, like an art gallery.
It was huge.
It was huge.
It was a huge event.
I feel confident that it impacted Okotoks in a positive way, like just with being like, you can do this, like you can just organize this type of thing. Because up until that point, it was like shows at the train station, which were legendary. And don't get me started about that. I could go off on that. But Hip Hop for Haiti was this wild place where we had artists from the school, from graffiti artists from Calgary that we'd met, all strewn up on the walls. So people were walking through like an art gallery while a borderline mediocre hip hop show was happening on the stage, and all of the town showed up. So it was like hundreds of people. I remember the floor was just like gonna, give out at times. And like, if you were there, if you were there, I hope some listeners were there, because it felt legendary.
I'm getting such a nostalgic kick looking at that poster and just reading, because we all know some of these people, Dust Dawn, Reese PC, Luke F.
Oh my God,
that was the era.
Yeah.
And I oh man, I knew this would come up. Like when you started doing it, and you were obviously into poetry and gifted and lyrical and everything, and Bren's talented, he's putting the work in, but there was like an underlying assumption there. Like a very like underlying like white guy Okotoks fucking like, well, if Josh is doing it, like all of us can rap. Like I think we'll all.
I think I'd prefer to say that I inspired people and showed that it's not impossible.
Don't take that as a diss.
No, it's okay. Because I'm your 50 Cent and I get that, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because I'll bring it around.
This motherfucker can do it.
Yeah, exactly. I'll bring it back to a compliment. It would like became like glaringly obvious that you actually had some moxie, and there was some real work and like some creative elements going on that was not just readily available for anyone who had like, oh, I have also listened to a rap song before.
Right.
And it was pretty funny. Like everyone came out and they're like, I'm going to try it too. And I know you remember this, but we did a couple songs at that show.
We's a strong word. I remember you were going to do it, and I was gonna
Did you beatbox?
Yeah, I beatboxed with you for yeah.
It was a we. It was the Crab Shack duo. We fucking got up there.
The Crab Shack duo.
I'm not gonna go on and on. What I was gonna say.
No, do, because I'm curious. What did we do?
But it's one of those things. It's one of those things. Do you ever have something like in your history, in your past, that if you even think about, like you get like a cold shiver, like cringe, like, oh, I can't believe I
did that. I can't believe I wore a thong.
Yeah, I can't believe I wore a thong
in front of my friend's wife.
That's that moment for me. It was being like, that was so embarrassing. I was like in so far over my head.
I remember it going well. I remember it went okay.
Because there was like 400 people there.
There was a lot of people.
And 200 of them left when I got on stage.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
But I, like I said, to bring it back to a compliment, I definitely had the realization then. I was like, oh no, this is serious. This is like Bren and Josh are actually out there making music.
Yeah.
And there's something
and
to
and
it.
a step above, right? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
yes, technically anybody can rap, but not anybody can rap, if you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
Like,
there's a
know what
performing
you're saying.
side of it. Yeah.
And also, like, I feel like obviously music goes through ebbs and flows, right? And at that time, hip hop was like the shit. Like, that was the genre to be listening to, right? Like,
it was.
And I feel like it was really on an upswing, and everybody wanted to try it. Everybody wanted to do that their thing. And now I kind of feel like it's sort of like on that down. Like, if you look at mainstream,
R&B
right?
is sort of blended into hip hop.
Yeah, and like country's having a moment right now and stuff like that. But yeah.
Well, I think Reese Pieces was like he did dubstep after that.
Even I was gonna say, like,
rode the wave.
Half of these guys now are drum and bass DJs. You rode the wave of the hip hop
Yeah.
the hip hop vibe at the time, and then when electronic music became more popular,
Yeah,
you saw a lot of these
right
artists that
after
we
that.
perform with
Hip Hop
on
for Haiti
stage.
was
The
like-
same openers are now, they're doing that thing on the.
Obviously, you guys did really well. Haiti,
is
not
great.
so much.
Haiti, not so much.
Hades in rough shape, but I'm glad
yeah.
you guys did better than Haiti.
I'm not sure we made an impact, but we did our best.
But back to the shows. I'm glad you brought up. Geeze brought up the good point of furniture and graffiti artists, because that's something that continued to stay with us throughout our career. As Mr. Ambition over here continued to do every show, everything that we ever did, it was a show. It wasn't just a hip hop performance. We consistently drug a living room set across the city of Calgary to 15-minute spots so we could show up with our grandma's couch and a lamp that we could plug in and set up, and we could put on a show, and that's all thanks to this guy right here. But that's kind of what set us apart, I feel like, from
Something
from
a little
the rest.
stylistically
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
The drama kid aspect
Yeah,
definitely
definitely.
shined through, because we were hauling like full living room sets
full sets
onto stage,
and I hated it.
And we
I
had-
hated every minute of it.
and we
but
had
love it now. Looking back,
the
at it,
aesthetic for
obviously.
the audience. It was something so different, because the person that went on before and after us were, just a baggy pants talking about how sick they are, and all the girls they get, and like just it was just so generic. And then we would go up, and it would it'd be a talk show, and there'd be a this
There'd be a
couch setup,
skit.
and there'd be a skit, and Brendan would have like the Price is Right kind of queued up on the turntables, and like hit cues for me to like incorporate a show into the show. And meanwhile, also, having the stage presence to like get people involved and make it more than just, hey, everyone listen to me for 15 minutes. It was about like everyone having a good time for 15 minutes.
We
so-
brought stagehands dressed in black. We would change sets in between songs sometimes. We're talking about like 15, 20 minute sets.
20
And
minute
we're
sets,
not
yeah.
making any money. It cost us money to get all this shit there.
Yeah.
And we're putting on a show. So
I appreciate you putting up with me, by the way, because I am obviously wildly narcissistic and insane.
It was all for the
You
show.
would have to be to pursue hip hop as a career for a decade. But Brendan has to put up with all these ideas going on in my head of ways we have to rehearse like something we've already done 100 times, and like just a million different things, because I was such a perfectionist, or I just wanted those 15 minutes to shine so bright, and be such an impactful moment that people were like, "Holy crap, who are they?" Like
we couldn't be followed thanks to you though.
Yeah,
No
well,
one
thank
was
you.
coming
Yeah,
up
yeah.
after a living room set and just be like, I'm just gonna freestyle 15. Like no one. it
We
was
had a lot
bummer.
of great moments of people not wanting to go on after us, or just the promoter that booked us for that show being like, "Oh, next time they're going last," or next time, okay, now we have to pay them, because our quality was noticeable, so we rose quickly in Calgary, especially as Okotoks kids creeping into the scene, yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, performance art, like just absolutely doing everything to make it an experience. And that probably around that time, and when you talk about the couch and the living room setup,
I forgot about the
that gives me the vibe. Your album cover, like, is that around that era, like the first album?
yeah.
That couch came with us. It was just me on the cover of the CD with two monkeys, but that couch came with us
I got you guys an unopened Natural
Shut
Ensemble.
your butt.
The original CD. Feel free to open
Like
it
to
or
keep?
whatever. Yeah, it's for you.
What? That is cool.
That's
a
a famous
collectible.
couch. We drug that couch around with
That
us.
is the couch?
That is probably the couch that would
Yeah.
come to the actual shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like an old grandma's couch.
You held
pattern.
on to that thing. You
Everyone,
committed to
I committed
owning
to-
that couch
I got
and
a
taking
weird
it.
thing for couches,
Yeah.
man. I always have. Even the couch that was in the new video that we dragged through the streets, I held on to for years. My brother had to deal with me like in that couch in the backyard, but.
This is
Yeah.
a whole era looking at this thing.
Yeah, everybody had that couch. Everyone's grandma
Yeah.
had that couch, like with
Oh yeah,
that
that was like the
pattern.
brick special back in like 1970.
Who is in the gorilla costume? Who is the monkey? Is that they're taking it to your grave?
Yeah, we'll take
don't-
that one to our grave.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll never know. It's a real monkey. What are you talking about?
Oh my God. Big Rock Records.
Big Rock Records. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know when they came into the picture, but we did Hip Hop for Haiti, and then the next one was D's.
I remember the D's show.
D's show was another incredible show.
I want this. This is
You can
coming.
have it.
This is coming with me. I still rock.
I got a second copy. I got one for both you guys.
Hell yeah! Thank you. Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys want us to just go into this like long-winded story time, but
No, honestly,
yeah,
like,
I don't wanna, like,
This
go
is
off,
exactly what I want. I want to take a minute for the audience. If you're hearing like
they
a
still
whole
don't even
bunch
know
of-
about us.
Well, no, they know, but I just want to like clarify some shit.
Why would we care?
We've got this amazing guest duo here in the studio, but we're passing around this fucking bottle of champagne and we're bumping shit, and so that's my bad, right? You know, I just want everyone to know that we are here having a good time, and we're actually so excited just to listen to your story, because I don't think maybe people don't know this, and B-Ren, you and I go back. We don't hang out, you know. We got kids, we're on the periphery, but like
We're rad dads.
we're rad dads. But Josh is a friend of ours. Like, Josh is in our Halo group. We play PGA. we golf. We see Josh all the time, and rarely are we like cool enough or nice enough to ask about this. So this is actually like, this is a real treat for us to sit here and be like, please tell us about this whole experience, because there's moments like, you know, were you at the D show?
I definitely remember the D's show.
Yeah. Like, this is a kick. We love it. Keep going, please.
And I see where you're coming from. Like, we hang out all the time and we never ask about this stuff.
That's what I'm
'cause
saying.
It almost feels like we were not living that with you, but like we were following along as you were coming up, right? Like, it was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to go to their next show. And
But it's really
like,
amazing. Yeah.
It feels like, oh, I know that story, but you don't know that fucking story.
We haven't
right?
heard
Like,
it like this. No. So please give us the candid. Tell us
As
everything.
enough.
cool it
Fair
is for
enough.
the audience to be hearing this for the first time, and we talked about it before we started the podcast, but it's very much me and Geeze also rehashing this for the first time. Like, we didn't get a chance to sit down
been a minute.
and go through, you know, what we were going to chat about today ahead of time. We're you know, actively reliving this in real time right
Hell
now. So
yeah.
it is. I love it. It's very interesting.
Yeah, please keep it going.
So we just did the greatest fundraiser, you know, possibly imaginable for 19-year-old kids in Okotoks at this huge hall with all this like thought put into it. So we thought, let's go from that to the greasiest, terrible, you're probably getting roofied at bar in all of Okotoks, which is, of course, the legendary D's.
That's so
Which
sick.
was so cool, like right by the movie theater. Like, if you're underage, come on in. Doesn't matter. Like, this place shouldn't exist. Predators are in the back. Like watch your drinks. Yeah, it was. But you know, they had a stage. They had a stage, and they said that we could perform. And so we get all of our stuff together, and we put together like a really good set. And we go and do it. If I'm not mistaken, this is our next show, right?
This is our next show.
Okay, yeah. So we do a show there. The drama teacher from high school's there, and she's married and she's hitting on the kids, and like, you know, it's just a weird environment. But of course, Okotoks is there. It's a party, and we throw down and do another set with I believe videos are on YouTube. You can check out from a million years ago, but. And I assume the videos don't even show you how it felt, even just for the audience, for everyone at the time. But it was really like, just again, another step into how you can pursue hip hop and how it's not this fantasy or something you see on much much music and things like that. It's like, it's right on our doorstep, it's in town. It's right here. It's at D's.
And this was a huge step for our music professionalism, because on the table here, obviously our loyal listeners can't see, but we have this.
I saw you pull this out.
We have
What's going on here?
We call this the
Scritchy
Scritchy Scratchy, but before Hip Hop for Haiti, I went to Circuit City.
Probably
It's
some
like
terrible.
your typical electronics store in Okotoks, right down near Mark's there in Walmart.
Oh, Source by Circuit City.
Source by Circuit City. That's correct.
Hell yeah.
And I bought what you're seeing now, and it's an $80 USB plug into your computer type, makeshift scratch table, and that's what we did Hip Hop for Haiti on. And then in between Hip Hop for Haiti and D's, me and Geeze went record player purchasing, and found a set of Tech 12s and actually like hooked up a legit set of turntables, and we started legitifying ourselves as hip hop musicians in that sense.
But
So
I missed the
that was
Scritchy Scratchy.
Oh, totally. But D's was our first show with legit vinyl.
It was.
We felt like, we are hip hop now.
Yeah, because you actually had turntables, and you're not the tallest dude. And
No.
which is a joke that I've had ongoing for like 15 years, is just like, these turntables are enormous, and the tables that he's got a DJ on are always like, pretty tall. Like, they're just tall things. So
He has to run from
bar
table to
tables,
table.
bar tables.
Yeah.
So he would be like on a milk
I'd have to
crate.
stand on milk crates.
He'd be on milk crates,
Yeah.
and he'd still be like DJing up up top, But he got it done, and it was with so much like quality. He's like also, just completely like the best for rehearsing and like having everything dialed in really well. And so, yeah, the show showcased that quality. And the next thing that I'm really excited to talk about was the something that I maybe skimmed over a little bit, is the headliner of Hip Hop for Haiti was the Random Humans. And they were from Longview. They were these older dudes who had been in hip hop for a while and had a name for themselves. And they were so cool. And so that's why we had them headline Hip Hop for Haiti, because they were experienced. And so the way that we broke into Calgary, and our first real show in Calgary that's me leaning over to get the poster, the drum roll, is the Random Humans CD release party. And so the Random Humans on October 8th of 2010 did a CD release party at Dickens Pub in Calgary, and a promotion company called True Rhythm was the organizer for that album release. So now we went from D's nuts to we're downtown Calgary. We're at a real show in front of complete strangers, and some of Okotoks came, but like a lot of it was Calgary people. And it was a huge show. It was a great show.
Sound checks involved.
And yeah, exactly.
You start getting more professional.
There's a green room,
Yeah.
and we're like, yeah. And we're early, we're on time, we're rehearsed, we're clean, and we go and do our show. We absolutely crush. And the promotion company, obviously we go first, and the promotion company, True Rhythm, saw us at that show, and that was the beginning of the most meaningful relationship for Natural Ensemble. Was on October 8th, 2010, because the owner of True Rhythm, KG, shout out to the man, the motherfucking man, because he was our foot in the door for every show that we ever booked, in Calgary after that. He saw what we had, and he believed in us, and he kind of put us on, he just kept giving us chances to prove ourselves and to climb that sort of reputation that there is in the scene in Calgary.
Pay your dues. We had to pay our dues.
We absolutely did. Yeah. And
he helped us. KG helped us pay our dues, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So thanks to him, and thanks to that show, and so thanks to booking Random Humans for Hip Hop for Haiti, everything came to, and we got to have a career in hip hop.
And that opened the door. I want to just really quickly throw it back, and I feel like it's important because there are people listening who maybe don't know what it's like to, maybe they haven't been to a hip hop show, or they don't understand the behind the scenes stuff. But be standing on the crate and doing your thing. Like when you guys are playing live, like you are mixing live. Like you are right there. Like it's not an iPod fucking thing.
It's not. We were very adamant on being these. I mean, we're like, I don't speak for Geese here, but we are very much we're old school hip hop heads. I feel like we're the '90s, chill vibe, turntablist, MC, lyricist type.
That's where the
boom
inspiration
bap.
came.
hip
Hell
hop
yeah.
artists, right? So
Hell
we wanted to pride ourselves in being authentic. So we set out to get 2 Tech 12s, which is essentially your 2 12-inch vinyl record players and a mixer, and do it the way we've seen all of our idols do it. The Grandmaster Flashes, all the way up to the Son Reels and everyone in between, basically. So there was only one way to do it for us, and that was the classic vinyl route.
That's
Oh, yeah.
unreal.
Yep.
That's very cool. And so coming back to this show, KG hears you, sees you, puts you in an opportunity, puts you in a position to go and, like you say, grind.
Yeah.
And where are we at then in the timeline of Natural Ensemble?
Well, I think after that, there was, I've got a stack of probably like 60 posters here of every show that we did, and I don't want to go through each single one.
You could almost montage this period as us paying
is
our
a-
dues at Dickens.
For sure.
We opened for guys like Sweatshop Union, Son Real,
Mocha Only.
Onyx, Rozelle,
Rozelle,
DJ
Rozelle.
JS1. Like there tons of our idols that you'd be like, well, how am I meeting you in the basement of Dickens? You'd be shaking hands in the green room, and it was just a montage of different guys. Mocha Only, who ended up doing a track with.
Yeah,
there's
that
Onyx.
was one of our questions. So
Conscience. We did a
collaborators.
bunch of Sweatshop Unions to the point where they like recognized us. Like, oh,
We
it's
did
the
like 8
the Calgary guys.
Sweatshop Union, we did like 8 shows with. And if you don't know who Sweatshop Union is, go on YouTube right now and look up Sweatshop Union, because
Great
they were
Canadian hip hop.
They were what I was watching on Much Music growing up, and they were so a lot of inspiration for what we became, which was just it being about the art form and not about the industry and not about the business, and that stuck with us through our entire careers. Okay, this is a show that Drew was at. I was looking for this one. Camp Low,
oh my God, Lucchini.
Pete Rock,
Yeah,
Pete Rock and
hell
CL Smooth.
yeah.
Or if you were either at that show or I was just excited to tell you that I was at the show because you listened to them. But long story short, we grinded through so many shows thanks to the opportunities at KG, and so then our buzz grew enough that that Big Rock Records
The one, the only.
One and only.
came knocking
Okay, hold
on
on.
our door.
Fuck Big Rock Records. Just kidding. I'm sure you're cool. But I want to throw it back to like these collaborators. Like I remember Questions is the tune. One of my favorites all time. And it's got the Mocha Only verse on it. And
Yeah, hell yeah.
I can understand now in hindsight that you guys were playing shows with and I'm not gonna throw shade on Mocha at all, but you were playing with some of your idols, like big names, and it just must have been so surreal.
Swollen members. Yeah.
But that was our generation growing up. Like you don't talk about Canadian hip hop, Battle Axe.
Yeah, Swollen Members had to be like one of the first hip hop albums I ever owned.
So when you guys had that song and you're like, this is Mocha Only.
Yeah.
Can you guys tell us a little bit about that process?
So I think it came from opening for him, and then a connection we made through that. And I could honestly be wrong. It was so long ago.
I can picture it again. We met him outside Dickens. We're
Yeah.
outside Dickens shaking hands with Mocha Only after he did a set that was amazing in front of a group that was underwhelming. And you're like, why is nobody here?
Yeah,
But
it was-
you're
it
outside,
was
he's having
a
a
small
smoke,
crowd.
and you're like, oh, and you're shaking hands and chit-chatting, and then you develop that contact.
By the way, all of our, like, there's a graveyard of shows where there's 4 people there. Like, it's like the sound guy, the bartender, and 3 people. Like, there's, a career in pursuing music has so many of those shows that are development builders,
Low lows.
Low
is what
lows,
we like to call them.
But we actively, because I remember seeing shows like that, and I saw artists that acknowledged that the crowd was empty and they would kind of act as such, and so we always actively went 100%. If no one was there, we were 100, no matter what, as if it was a sold out crowd. And I don't know if that's cliche or weird, but like we really, I was sweating, drenched in sweat, performing as if there was a massive crowd. And that ended up helping us out in a lot of ways. For example, these conversations with Mocha, seeing him and just sort of being able to, have our foot in the door. Like, he has some reference that we don't suck, and he agreed to do a verse on our song. We of course paid him. He's a dope entrepreneur in Vancouver, and he does verses for a lot of people, and you can reach out maybe even today and get a verse from him. There's so, like, it's out there. So it's not like he was just like, you guys are gonna make it, like, you know what I mean? You guys are stars.
that's how I felt, though.
But
That's exactly how I
that
felt.
truly, genuinely is how it felt. And it was like throughout our careers, there was these stepping stones of okay, like we really should put 100% into this. And there's a couple of conversations that have happened throughout our careers, and that Mocha only doing the verse was absolutely a validation that we felt, because he wanted to hear the beat. He wanted to know before he agreed to it all. He wanted to get a feel for what it was.
Vet us. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that was cool. And a shout out to Brennan, because one of the other stepping stones in our career was a conversation that he had with me, where he just kind of, said really incredible things that stuck with me, as far as believing in what we had, and just the amount of effort and the quality of what we were doing. And that led to us having the strength to kind of keep going, because obviously as a performing artist, there's crippling doubt, crippling self-doubt and
You
anxiety.
get in your own head? You guys get in your own head a lot?
Big time.
Oh, yeah. Like
time.
your favorite movie star gets in their own head. Your favorite movie star thinks they suck sometimes. Like it's like, and like a lot. Like anytime you're performing, it's just, there's a lot that goes on where before the show, you hate yourself. And then after the show, you think you're the greatest thing to ever happen to the planet. Like there's these crazy waves of confidence and anxiety, and that's part of the rush. That's part of what makes it great and awful, and why not everybody signs up for it.
It's a bit of an imposter syndrome before you go on stage.
So true.
Totally. Yeah.
So true.
You're looking at some of the guys you're performing with, or maybe opening for, and you're like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
What am I? I'm about to go stand on milk crates and spin some vinyls. What am I?
But you get off stage and I remember seeing people come up to you. Like you had a lot of huge, like, you inspired a lot of people too. It's
I get a
crazy.
lot of the hip hop heads that say, yo, I really like the tracks, and Geeze gets everybody. He's the showman.
You get the one guy
showman.
coming up.
And I love that. You know what?
I know what you did there.
I don't want anybody else. I want that one guy.
He's
I
the
want
quiet
I want that
connoisseur.
one guy that's like, yo, I heard that. You dropped the snare in the
transition.
fourth, and you did and you're like, oh, that's tight, man. Thank you very much. But yeah, it's when you come off stage, it's all worth it. All those feelings are gone.
So you guys have met all these really cool people, like your idols and stuff. You don't have to name names, but did you ever have like a don't meet your idols moment where you're like, this guy sucks?
Oh yeah, we do want to know. You were talking about like the low lows, like, and don't air your dirty laundry. You don't put anybody on blast. You don't have to, but like, yeah, maybe a bad meet, or like the worst show. Like, give us some of that.
Yeah, I didn't have too many of those, but I know Onyx, we were so excited to meet, and then they were such a big deal that they didn't let the openers in the green room.
Oh, shit.
So, and which is totally fair. I mean, they're Onyx.
I wouldn't want us in the green room if I was Onyx.
There's just like, and they're from a different world, and like, and so there was like maybe not so much of like big artists being like assholes.
Hobson was another one. Hobson signed to
Hobson
Eazy-E's label. His wife took over that label after he went, and she signed Hobson. And we performed for Hobson. Same thing. Her tour manager came in and kicked us all out of the dressing room. We didn't want to talk to anybody, no eye contact with anybody, don't touch any of his shit, that kind of stuff.
Right. More
Remember
often, I barely. More often we get allowed into the green rooms.
Totally.
But most often.
That one felt like, that one was the worst one for me, because even Onyx was like, it's Onyx, man. What are you talking about?
Like a legendary career. Hobson's is new.
Yeah, come on, let us in.
For sure. We opened for MGK, and we were in the green room with MGK. We opened for Method Man and Redman. We're in the green room. So Hobson, thinking that he was
The perspective there, yeah.
they're not going to say. Oh, sorry, I bumped this thing. I hope it didn't.
Don't worry about that.
But so
What was Method Man and Redman like? Did you guys get to meet them? Like,
So
that's fucking unbelievable.
they came in and out. They did their like sound check, and then they left, and then so I don't know if they were there during our set. They're it's Method Man and Redman. Like, they don't want to be swarmed. They don't want to they know they have a system. But we're in the green room. I remember going on stage and it was one of the best shows of my life. Like, it was just so incredible. I think we crowd surfed to end it. We had backup dancers for the first time and only time, but it went well. We had like these two chicks, Sea Child, and I wish I could remember the other girl's name, but she was her friend. Sea Child's the only one I knew personally, but they kind of taught me a little bit of choreography. It was just like it was just a subtle little bop, but they were doing cool stuff in the background. And
you guys synchronized at one point? Like, you were like
synchronized
JT? Like, you were just fucking?
We synchronized at one point for one little bop that hit the music right. And I don't think it turned out cheesy. I think it turned out really cool. But I only hired a photographer for that show instead of a videographer. And I regret that so much. But but you'll just have to take my word for it.
It was amazing.
It was very cool because we were trying to be larger than life. We were trying to do a big show for Meth and Red. Like we wanted to not just we were always trying to mix it up with something special.
Grandmaster Flash, I think, was one of the biggest ones too. Grandmaster Flash, at least for me, meeting one.
Don't
of my,
push me,
yeah,
cause I'm close to.
That was meeting my
edge.
idol, and he was one of the nicest guys, like very welcoming to all the openers. And he stopped us before we went on set. Or before we went on stage to do our set, and was like, "Hey, dude, this one for Pops." I don't know if you remember that. Grandmaster Flash saying to us, "This one's for Pops."
Oh yeah,
Like, this one's for Dad. And then just before we walked on stage, and it was just an amazing moment of one of your idols speaking to you. So you don't, the question of you don't want to meet your heroes. I met him, and it was awesome, and I loved every minute of it.
Yeah. Any negative memories are just didn't register. You know how like you always remember those cringy moments from the past or whatever, and it's hard to remember the good times. It's like with hip hop, for some reason, our career, like I only remember the good times. I don't remember the weird. I don't remember anyone I don't.
It's
like.
minimized, right? Because they don't stand out.
Absolutely.
Dex has had a bit of the green room experience, doing comedy.
stand-up.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I think very similar to you guys. Like the first time I ever went up was opening or doing the amateur night before Andy Haynes, who is
Incredible.
insanely funny. So funny. I still follow him. Like he's and he travels the world. Like he literally left Calgary and went to Amsterdam and did like a weekend in Amsterdam. And he very similar to you. Like I wouldn't say he's my idol or anything, but I knew of him. I knew he was super funny. I'm like, that's an incredible career in comedy. And he was so generous with his time, so friendly to us, complimented me after my set, shook my hand and everything. Like, yeah, it was cool. But for me, especially like, I feel like I kind of got onto a pretty big show my first time doing stand up, right? Where it was like, I'm opening for a professional
Huge show.
touring comedian
Makes
to
no
a sold
sense.
out show. Yeah.
Your stand-up career is incredible. Nobody does it the way you're doing
moving at a very
it.
fast pace. Yeah.
It's moving very fast.
But
Did you tell him you had a milk crate guy? You'd be like, I got another guy too. He's had like 9 triples. He's
you need crates? I got them.
he's out there somewhere.
But it was yeah, and for me it was really awkward to see him sitting there, and I was like, I don't even want to like look at this guy, because you hear these stories, right? You hear about performers who think they're larger than life and stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to look at this guy. I don't want to like throw him off his game. He's going over his notes. Obviously, he's got his jokes planned out, and but yeah, he was like so nice. Came up, shook our hands, and yeah, same thing with the second show I did. It was super nice. Like, yeah. So I don't know.
That's so cool.
But
I'm so
you guys
proud
have
of you.
obviously done way more shows, and I'm like, man, was there that one moment? But it sounds like you've had really positive experiences overall.
For sure. I mean, I'm a huge stand-up comedy fan, and like as a kid, I was raised by Just for Laughs. Like, love my parents. Don't get me wrong; they're incredible, they're loving, but they weren't like, today I've got a lesson for you. Like they were just like, Just for Laughs raised me, and so seeing you skip the stage of like 5 years of bombing at like a little club in front of 4 people and just go straight to like 2 back-to-back sold out shows. Obviously people going to see the headliner, but you get that exposure and you get that experience of performing in a sold out room and crushing. I was there both times. You crushed so professionally. You were so clean. And I don't know if it's, my history of stage performing or what it is, but I'm so impressed with what you've done with stand-up. And I hope you keep going, and I hope you bomb eventually.
One day it will happen. I mean, every comedian says it does happen eventually.
Yeah. You're so good, man. You're
sometimes
so
I
good.
feel like Dave Chappelle. I don't know if it was like 2 specials ago, or no, it was when he was accepting his like Lifetime Achievement Award for the Mark Twain Award. And he was like, my first time up, I was so good. And he does that joke. And I felt the same way afterwards. I was like, man, it's...
I feel like Annie's kind of lifting us up a bit. The performance art piece, like I'm thinking next show, it's in that thong.
Ooh,
and it does.
You go full Burt Kreischer.
I feel like that's biting Burt Kreischer style.
No, you're like Carrot Top. You just like, don't even address it. Kreischer makes a show of it. He's like, I'm gonna take my shirt off. I'm a big fucking fat guy. No.
Side note, now I feel like we're getting so far off, but this is a good discussion. Did you guys watch the roast of Tom Brady?
I did.
I haven't. I've seen
Nikki
some highlights.
Glaser
I'd love to talk about it.
roasted him so good when
She did
she was
good.
like, I love your joke.
Oh, like Burt Kreischer, I love your joke. Yeah, she did good. Everyone's really hyping her up, and she did do incredible. But Tony Hinchcliffe was the professional out there. He was Tony Hinchcliffe from Kill Tony. I don't know if you listen to that podcast.
Yeah.
there's two great podcasts, this one and Kill Tony.
There's two only.
No, but that roast was incredible and brutal, and it made me hate Tom Brady.
Yeah, I couldn't even look at him.
When he
Botox
went at the
face,
end,
fucking weird. Like
you go into it kind of feeling like, oh, it's so great that he was willing to do this and get made fun of. But then him at the end was just kind of tastelessly cocky and lame and cringy. You got to watch it for yourself and let me know what you think.
And when he checked Jeff Ross.
When he checked Jeff Ross.
Yeah, I did not like that.
It's like they went so ruthlessly at Bill Belichick, but he's like protecting
the owner,
the owner from the jokes about the massage parlor or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I just thought it was classless to like make fun of Bill Belichick like that.
Jeff Ross was like on a podcast recently. I can't remember which one. I just saw a clip of it.
What did he say?
And he was talking about, he's like, they told us before, like, no jokes about the hand jobs. And he's like, I thought I could like do a really sly one where it's like, oh, do you want a massage? And he's like, and it didn't sneak through.
Brady got up
but
live.
Like, they were like, he's like, he was giving credit to Tom Brady. He was like, that's a tough thing to do, to go in and get made fun of by comedians for like 2 hours, 3 hours. He's like, and he had one request of jokes he doesn't want to do. He's like, and I still tried to push the envelope, and he checked me. I don't know. He didn't seem too butthurt about it.
I mean, he also said, don't make fun of the kids.
Which would be like way punching down. I think.
Well, Tom Brady kisses his dad on the lips, and he kisses his kids on the lips. So there's a lot of
material.
There's a lot of material
Yeah.
there. That's pretty funny. And no disrespect to those that do that. I mean, I don't understand it, but like no disrespect, but it's so funny to watch the greatest football player of all time just make out with his dad on live TV.
All right. Well, speaking of making out with your dads, Dex, play that "Make Out with Your Dad" jingle, and when we come back, we're actually gonna we're gonna get right back on track. That was a quick little aside. That was good, but we got to hear more because we're only halfway through the story. So when we come back, let's get going with Natural Ensemble.
All right, we back. I want to make sure that the recording number is continuing. Okay, yeah, good. Because that would have been whack.
That would have been straight up whack, G.
Yeah. What's up, my dogs? Welcome back.
Welcome back to the Rad Dad Podcast with our guests, Natural Ensemble.
You,
by the way, are fantastic guys. You guys are the dudes.
Thank you.
we love you guys.
Nah, we love you. There's a lot of bromance going on right now.
But let's pick up because I feel like we're progressing through your career, and we're still in the early years.
We are.
But you got the call from Big Rock Records or the I don't know, they slid into your DMs, whatever.
Yeah.
Tell us how that went down.
So me, Ty Leaney, and Kayla Williams went to Ty Leaney's Quonset one day messing around, and
The studio.
they had a recording studio in their Quonset outside of Okotoks, and we played around and made a song called Tight Jeans.
Ooh.
That I hope exists still somewhere out there in the cosmos. But they after that, because I realized that Quonset had the studio, me and Ty Leaney were in conversation, we're talking about it, and we go to record. I think we try to go record something there, and because it's so far back, I don't recall, but yada yada yada. His dad, who I couldn't say enough nice things about Ty Leaney's dad. Mr. Leaney is a legend because he is this, pretty well-off, like wealthy dude who has this Quonset he turned into a recording studio on this like plot of land, and always had a passion for music, and saw something in us, and I think he just wanted music to be in his life in some capacity, so he established a record label. Obviously, we had talked about it a little bit beforehand, and like we were open-minded to it. And he established a record label and made legitimately incorporated. And as far as I know, I mean, he told us he's legitimately incorporated, and gave us a contract to sign with him to sign on as Big Rock Records only, act. And since we had I'm so grateful to have a story where, as an artist, there was a relationship with a record label that eventually went soured, and then now I can't.
It's a rite of passage.
It's like kind of part of being in the industry is this turmoil that between an artist and the person that's restricting their art or trying to push their art in a direction that sells more, or that whole element is always a recipe for for inevitable disaster. But so my relationship with Ty Leaney soured, and but instead of saying anything negative about Ty Leaney, I'd rather say positive things about his dad, because Mr. Leaney believed in us, and like he funded a ton of really cool things that we got to do and pursue, and he got like the merch and the CDs printed and the mixing and mastering. He was a huge backbone of that, and so I'm so grateful for Big Rock Records. I wouldn't say a negative thing about Mr. Leaney.
To speak to your point, I think the Leaneys in general, both of them are musicians at heart. They're one of us, and they saw something in us, maybe the same thing that we saw, and they wanted to forward the music that we were trying to put out there.
There's something here.
There was something there.
Reloading.
And to their credit, like they rolled the dice. Like we're a couple of stoner kids at this point, putting out music out of our basement, trying to solidify ourselves as hip hop.
We had enough
artists,
shows
and they were willing to devote their time and money. Like they put out the money for our albums. They put out the money for photo shoots and shows and a whole bunch of things that came to follow being under their record label. And they were willing to roll that dice on us. And I think, as a
So
whole,
cool.
we'll be forever grateful
For sure.
for those guys. And although relationship had its ups and downs, it was definitely a monumental moment in our careers.
Okay,
right?
so now that we said the nice things,
Sure.
now that we said the nice things, let's talk about, Ty Leaney's dad was, he's an older dude, right? He's from a generation that listens to Led Zeppelin and stuff.
I think the song needs more razzmatazz, you guys.
So we have this element who is the funding of the operation, because, and our story jumps around a little bit, but yeah, we've got CDs and shows, and we've got funding as an artist. That's so valuable. And now we're in the studio recording, and he's like, instead of saying fuck, instead of swearing, what if we don't?
Here's a quick
He's like, let's rewrite that. And
a quick PSA for anybody getting into music or potentially about to sign a contract. Creative control, outlining who has creative control over the music is a huge thing. We came to learn that after we'd signed the contract, but whoever has the ultimate creative control is a big deal within your contract.
Did you guys read through the shit, or were
I
you guys like
didn't
rock
read-
stars, like blah blah blah? blah,
I
blah?
couldn't have
read
signed it fast.
one word, not one word.
We're 20.
I just was like,
23,
take it.
24-year-old kids who got offered a quote unquote
Yeah, we're
record
like,
deal.
We're 21,
right?
22, yeah.
Where they were going to fund everything. I couldn't have signed it fast.
I didn't look at the contract. I mean, I said I glanced at it, but
Did you peruse?
We kind
perused.
of discussed verbally what the contract
we
would
brought
say.
the contract so you guys could see how many pages it is, because it's legit. And not that, I don't know if it's that interesting to actually have a peek at, but I mean,
I'm a contracts guy.
I'm all
have a
ears.
poke at that, because that is what Mr. Leaney hit us with at 21 years old.
We verbally discussed it, and again, we're not.
We're so grateful.
Yeah, we're so grateful, and we took everyone's word, and it was a amicable agreement, and we obviously wanted
This is
to
a
pursue
fucking
this.
atlas, boys.
There's a lot of words in there.
It
On
was
purpose,
a legit
I'm sure.
contract. And to be honest, the more pages it was, the more legit I saw. As a 23, 24-year-old was like, oh, this is even fatter than I thought. I'm for sure signing this.
Section 9091, controlled compositions.
Yeah, you got to watch out for that.
So, I looked at that contract and I was just like, we are so fucking rich.
Yeah, we've made it.
I was like, we
made it.
There's a
are
stack of curls.
We did.
rock stars. But we have a studio now. We went from recording on a Radio City microphone in Brennan's mom's basement to a studio in a Quonset that's legit, and we're really doing it. And so one of the hilarious, I was pretty good with working with, luckily, Mr. Leaney was really legit. And although he had his opinions and he would push for them, we would talk about it, and he wasn't just coming in there and making us do anything. So it was a conversation. And one of the most annoying aspects of my whole life was navigating Brennan's passion for fuck these guys. No, I'm kidding. But Brennan's passion
for
for
real. No, that's fair.
Brennan took a pretty hard stance on we're doing whatever the fuck we want, and obviously Mr. Leaney being like, there's elements that I would like to suggest for change, and I felt like Jerry Seinfeld, or when Brennan's Larry David, and and so when somebody brings Larry David critiques or changes they want to make to like his, art. You know what I mean? Larry David is very opinionated on those things. And so I was the middleman because at the end of the day,
You're playing good guy.
Exactly. So very
Good
funny,
for you, man.
very
Fuck
quirky. It was a very quirky relationship over, I think 4 or 5 years. But I don't want to beat a dead horse or talk too much about it. But it was unique to be 21 funded, and have the buzz from KG and the promotion company. So we're getting booked for real shows, and we have real CDs being mixed and mastered and printed, and we're doing. Drew? Were you at the not the train station, but we had a CD release party it was another train.
Grand Central,
a train bar.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have a stage. And so Big Rock rented stage and rented lights and rented all the things to make that show as legendary as it was. And that was another incredible memory that we get to have forever of just Okotoks showed up. Like it was sold out, huge bar. And Big Rock made a ton of money from that. You know what I mean? Like they got to feel like they made a good investment in us. And it was just it was peak Natural Ensemble in the early era of Big Rock because everyone's happy. You know what I mean? Like everything's going really good. And so it was just a fun transition from those days to just trying to make everybody happy. It was hard.
So that's maybe the first time in your careers, other than like a low show, there's 4 people and you're like, we're gonna rock it, fuck it.
I loved those shows. I have no negative thoughts about those shows.
But maybe like these are, we'll call them pitfalls of the music industry. There's the other side of that, and that was one of the things you touched on it very naturally. But we were gonna ask about that, like what is this? What is the stuff you don't see? And so there was a bit of creative control there. And did you guys do 2 albums with them?
Yeah, I was going to ask that. I'm going through the contract. I'm holding it in my hand.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So initial term, 1 year, 2 albums. Did you do the 2 albums?
We did the 2 albums.
And so then upon exercise, it said 1 year, 1 album. Did you do the third, or did they exercise? Tell us about that.
You know what? We did it says that there would be 2 albums in 1 year?
We didn't exercise the 3rd album. We departed we had to depart from Big Rock before we could. Because we did our Naturally. Right?
Naturally, and Who's Laughing Now?
Who's Laughing Now, and that was the 2 albums that we fulfilled the initial contract, and then.
But we did them over like 2 or 3 years.
Totally, the contract definitely got extended because we went longer than we should. But
we definitely didn't do 2 albums in 1 year.
We did 2 albums in 1 year.
We didn't do a 3rd album.
The second album came out
after that. That was our departure.
So no exercise on the options.
No,
and then going. I'm just like flipping through
contract.
Yeah,
I love it. Get in there. Yeah, what else does it say?
Well, tell us.
I'm 34 years old finding out what the contract says.
And this is big, like in the Taylor Swift era. Like this was her big thing a few years ago. She bought back all her masters. You guys don't own your masters from these 2 records,
right? And so the reason that
Brendan's shaking his head with some malice now.
So here's the thing: is that if you go on Spotify right now, you'll find Natural Ensemble, but you'll only find the album that we put out after Big Rock Records. You won't find those first 2 albums, and that's because Big Rock owns those masters. And honestly, I have no idea. If I messaged Mr. Leaney, I wouldn't be surprised if he was like, "Oh yeah, go ahead, put it on Spotify. Why not?"
Release the masters.
I mean, they get 50% of the royalties.
Masters.
So why wouldn't they?
Why wouldn't they? Okay, so here's a funny story.
Get that hashtag trending right now.
Hashtag release the Natural Ensemble masters, you motherfuckers. That's a long hashtag. It'll work.
Release the any masters. It's one of those things.
We're getting that done for you. We're getting that. That is, I swear to you, the next time I see you.
Here's another funny quirk of working with a record label, even though it's an indie record label, I remember so specifically sitting down with Mr. Leaney. I actually don't know Ty's dad's name, so he's Mr. Leaney, but he's a legend. But I remember sitting down with him and being like,
Mifter.
we should get on Spotify. And he was like so old school.
Thank you. I thought it was dialed.
He hated that idea.
He hated Spotify. He wanted to make his money from the sale of CDs. CDs sell for $10 a pop. Why would he let Spotify rob him of so much of the money that could come in?
Oh, Metallica and Napster shit.
Spotify was a thing for a long time, and we weren't on there because of that. We were on Apple Music. You could buy it on Apple Music.
99 cents.
But so that's a kind of just a funny quirk of that element of But it'd be cool to sit down with him again because why wouldn't he want to make
release the masters?
Release the masters.
Or make your money.
At least put it on Spotify. Like I'm reading this, they get 50% of the royalty.
Oh, they can have all the money. I don't want any money. I just want them out there.
I love it. And I'm so glad Brendan said that because this was something that was prominent throughout our entire relationship with Big Rock. It was if we owed them something for investing investing in the shirts to get printed or whatever, then we would get 25% of the income of whatever we generate via music, whether it's from sales, shirts, shows, getting paid to perform. We'd get 25, they'd get 75. And then if we didn't owe them anything, they'd get 50-50. So it was kind of scary. Like, wait a minute, if you guys, 50-50 sounds awful if we don't owe you anything, but we owed them something the whole time because they invested in us.
Well,
and
okay.
so we're always earning.
Texas pulling the contract again. Well, fucking okay.
Okay, so the reason that part is relevant is just so that I can explain to you that we never took a dime. Like, we didn't take the 25%. We would do shows, we would make money, and then they would go, here's your 25%. And we would go, no, you keep it. We want you guys to be happy because we're here for the art. We're here for the fun. We don't care about that 25%. We want you guys to make your money back as quickly as you can so that you stay happy and we stay happy. We want to stay funded so that we can grow into the real thing, right? And so
you're very motivated.
Do you
at this
regret
point.
that at this point?
not even remotely.
What about you?
I mean, we're talking about nickels.
Yeah.
No, we're not. What are you talking about?
I don't. We're not talking thousands. We're not talking like
go down-
here's a $10,000 check that you guys are reinvesting.
Yeah,
I
I'll
don't
go down
think it was-
Schedule A here.
Okay, hit me
'cause
with Schedule A.
This is the cost. This is basically their cost. So you were talking about they get 75% till it's all squared away, right? And then
Right.
it's 50-50. So apparently they put up $6,000 for your first album.
Okay.
Do you mind if I go through?
No,
Sorry.
please,
Okay.
please do. Please do.
I don't understand how the information is on there. I think that you're reading
It was full in the contract.
an estimate.
This is a fucking contract, my dog.
No, but no.
Sign this.
Yeah, but the
You
contract.
should have called me when you were 20.
The contract that you're reading is from before the record was made. So how could he know?
because they
Because
estimated.
this is
Okay.
their this,
Okay.
well, it
The
says-
estimate on value.
Sorry, I should say Schedule A, agreed value of labels in-house services.
Right, so
they're saying
they never hit those numbers.
well, they're saying it no, but they're saying it's $500 a song. So they're charging you effectively of future payments, $500 a song, $6,000 for the first album. Video production, $2,500. Photography, $500. Artwork, $1,000. Artist website, $1,200. Website promotion, $750. Mastering fees, $250 a song, so $2,500. And then CD manufacturing is $1,000. So you essentially, after you did this, and they did 500 CDs and made your website and did all the photography and everything, you essentially owed them like $12,000, and you were paying that back through that 75% until such time that it was all paid back.
That sounds right. I just
Yeah.
don't know if those numbers. Those are roundabout numbers pre actually executing those things.
And I won't speak for you, Geese, but I didn't give a shit about numbers.
You just want to
Yeah, but
make
it's
an
just-
album. You want to make an album.
This is the first time I've seen that page. I signed that.
My goal was to
couldn't
make
care.
Mr. Leany rich.
Yeah.
Authentically from the heart, from the jump. It was just like, take it all. Let's get this guy rich so that we can get even
As
richer.
long as it
You know what
didn't
I mean?
cost us to put out music. If we were like at the end of the day,
We're
if we were
pursuing
breaking
art.
even and
Yeah.
putting out music, we're like
He saw the potential
in
in us and exactly and chose to make those investments. And so, yeah, it's interesting to hear that. But at the end of the day, like I said, we were just giving them 100% of what we would make. I remember we made like $3,000 at that the show that we were just talking about.
That's true.
Grand Central.
did
And
do some-
so
we did do some
we
good
could have
numbers.
taken,
We did
whatever
do some
25% of
good
that
Grand
was.
Central
and we
actually
gave it to them.
made $3,000 off me this last year.
How's that?
Their VLTs.
No way.
Those are dangerous.
So they're
Why are you sitting at the VLTs at Grand Central?
Oh, it's the spot. It's the anonymous spot in town. It's the number one spot for hip hop CD releases.
Yeah. Hey.
And it's the number one spot for double vodkas. And just pressing the button. Yeah. Okay.
No one tell Drew you can gamble on your phone.
Oh no, I had to do that. We won't go down this road. My wife listens. I did the the advertising now. They're like the self fucking
the self-exclusion.
Oh yeah, the phone. When I found that out, this is a really quick aside, but when I found that out that you could just like play fucking volcano eruption in your house, like taking a shit, having a doink. Are you kidding? It's the end of my life. It's the end of my life. I knew enough about myself. I was like, I don't need a VLT in my house. That can't happen. So yeah, no, I don't do that. When you guys are in this era, there was touring, and I want to hear about that. Like, you've got these CDs out, you're selling CDs. You had that huge release at Grand Central. I didn't hear a lot of the tunes because I was playing Super 7's Hot Reel and just making that money. But I have to assume that like once these albums are out and like you said, you're just proud of what you've accomplished. You're just proud that you've made music. Money aside, you guys have created this and it's out there, people can consume it. And then like what's that next step like? Obviously, a lot of these shows you're talking about the Calgary scene, but like was there an era where you were on the road doing shit? Like absolutely, there had to be.
For sure. So the greatest part, or one of the great parts of the story, was when Transit 22 came into the picture, because he was this Calgary artist that we met through friends of a friend and through doing shows, and he ended up asking me to do a feature on one of his songs, "I'm So Indie." And so I'm So Indie.
Huge song.
It was actually, it was pretty big on Much Music at one point.
Yeah, absolutely. We got onto, so it hit almost 1 million, views on YouTube in 2012. And it was a song about making fun of hipsters, right when hipsters were like a brand new hot phrase in 2012, And so because it got onto Much Music, the video, I got that hi mom on TV moment. And then the buzz from that is what, I rode the wave of that buzz. Anytime Transit called, it was just like this. He was my Joe Rogan to, it was incredible. Like he gave us the opportunity to tour, open for Swollen members and Apathy and Self-Titled and Ghetto Socks and Relic. He opened up a lot of doors for us. So, True Rhythm was the promotion company in Calgary that gave us opportunities, and Transit's relationship is what gave us even that next step. And so when we started touring, obviously we go to Big Rock and we're like, so
time to tour,
we're gonna go touring now. And they were like, that's great, like sell as many CDs as you can. And so we only did Western Canada, so I think we made it as far as like just the left side of Ontario, kind of like Manitoba and west. But we would I remember doing like 40 shows over this in a year. 40 shows in like half a year maybe, of just hopping around. You'd do one show one night, and then you wouldn't even stay in that town. You'd just be driving, and you would be driving so far that you'd get to town in time for sound check the next day, and then you'd do the show in a few hours, and you'd be sleeping in the van.
Oh yeah.
And
we did Western Canada, but we did like I remember we went out to the island and back. Our island show got canceled, but we went out to Vancouver and back.
We went to Kelowna, Vancouver. I mean, I wish I had something to jog the memory of like those
I'm gonna
shows.
Do my best.
But
We did a Lethbridge Pizza Parlor.
Oh yeah, the
Right.
Lethbridge
Slice.
Pizza Parlor.
The Slice.
The Slice. We played at the Slice.
Incredible venue.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
A quick preface here is we stole from every venue we ever played at.
He says we, but what he means is it was a bit that I was excited for him to pursue.
You've got some memorabilia.
We have a little memorabilia. We have a little keepsake from every single venue we've ever played at.
Do you still have all this stuff?
Yeah, but the pizza,
Little
the
things.
Slice in Lethbridge was specific because we scooped up this little splitter cable. And there's this little splitter cable that takes essentially 2 RCAs and it forms them into one XLR, like 1/4-inch cable. And it was this adapter that we were always looking for and we couldn't find. And the sound guy had it in his bin. And we stole that because
Again,
we
we.
we stole it.
It got put in the milk crate.
You are a
flipped
part of
over.
the Natural Ensemble.
And, I have that cord in my studio, and we've used
use
that
it all
for
the
our
time.
entire career. We've recorded
Great
our albums
contribution.
with it. We've done everything with it.
We absolutely did steal something off the walls or
Yeah.
a trinket, a bar
But
mat
to
from
start
every
off- to
show
start
for
off
the
that
first
tour, that was
5
a big
years.
one.
And that particular cord is the most valuable thing we
It
ever
was,
stole.
but we
Yeah.
did Lethbridge, and then we did Golden, we did Kelowna, we did Jasper, and Vancouver. We came back, we did Calgary and Edmonton. There might be one or two more I'm missing in there.
And the
but-
cool thing about those tours, like I know it's kind of a world that if you haven't, been in the music industry or pursued it or whatever, like you maybe it just sounds like, to say that you toured Canada, it sounds mysterious and like there's, like how do you book?
We were in Morinville. Mundair.
But it's like we're opening for Swollen members in Kelowna this night, and then the next night we're somewhere else opening for Apathy, and then we're in Banff opening for Hilltop Hoods, and so it's like it's a blob of it's your tour, but it's just like this enormously elaborate schedule that you just put together.
You're hopping on to you're just jumping from big name to big name.
Who
trying to
put
string
that
your own-
together?
Transit.
Who's your manager?
Transit was great for those relationships with bigger artists because again, the Much Music thing made us reputable. So then we could get on those things. And then after we would tour with Transit for whatever it was that we were doing, then we would be able to have those relationships moving forward and then tour with, I remember we did Ghetto Socks and Relic without him.
Yep.
And that was, a relationship that we built
a
with him.
relationship with Sweatshop Union.
Sweatshop Union.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just on the move. And then so every tour would also have a few shows that we would just headline. Like we would just do our own show in this town and there'd be 4 people there and, because they don't know who we are. Like, but we're just building that endurance and trying to push our brand.
We're at your local bar on a Thursday night.
Yeah, man. And those shows were so fun. We would stay in these shitty hotels or on the couch of a friend's place in a different town.
Openers sleeping on the ground.
Openers sleeping on the ground. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, it was the funnest, coolest, awful experience, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah.
What's your? And I know it's going to be hard to answer this question, but do you have a moment on tour that stands out as either like peak hilarity or debauchery? I don't want to put you on the spot.
I got one. I'll
me with
think
it.
of one. I signed an autograph in front of my wife. So at the time,
she wasn't your wife before.
she was my
and then
wife
she
at the
was your
time.
wife after.
She was my girlfriend at the time, and now my wife, Alyssa. But we did the show in Calgary, Republic.
Okay.
And we had left the Republic, and I had 2 people chase after me
miss
and
Republic.
ask me for an autograph, which is a very rare thing, ladies and gentlemen. I don't sign a lot of autographs compared to this man right
I'm going to get one. I'm getting both on this fucking CD tonight.
But I signed one, and there were 2 girls, and the 2 girls asked to take a photo, and they asked my wife. They gave her the phone.
They gave her
They gave her the
Your
they just
girlfriend at
handed
the time.
Sorry, yeah, my girlfriend at the time just handed her the camera. Was like, "Can you take a photo of us? Like, this is B-Ren." And I relished in that moment. She jokes about it to this day. She makes fun of me and laughs.
Did she fuck your brains out after? Because like, how do you not?
Yeah,
I want to fuck you right now.
she put a flag.
Yeah.
She put a flag on that mountain.
I made her call me B-Ren after. that was a
Did
funny.
you stand on the milk crate and just fucking... Yeah, my man. Oh, it's so good. I love that.
Yes. Yeah.
She's not going to
You
listen to this podcast, is she?
Oh yeah, we actually didn't record, honey.
Yeah. She's a beautiful woman. She's very nice. I like her a lot. So
Incredible,
shout out to Alyssa.
incredible part that honestly the best story that we could tell of all of this bullshit of of pursuing art. The greatest, most impactful, important thing is that Brennan met his wife from National Ensemble, from doing shows.
That's a big deal.
She came to a show, if I'm not mistaken.
Transit
correct me.
22 CD release
At SAIT.
Yep.
Yeah, the Gateway at SAIT.
That's right.
And you met your wife at an any show DJing. She saw you up there and she was like, "Hey."
Real quick. I know my wife's gonna listen to this, so real quick. We locked eyes. I was DJing.
up.
I do my thing on the stage.
Dreamweaver.
It was exactly like that. Everything stood still and we locked eyes, and everything else was blurred in the background, and Dreamweaver played. And I can't remember what song we were doing, but the rest was history. But that was legit what it was like, and we
So
chatted
cool.
after.
That's unreal.
And now you guys have a family, you have kids.
And I didn't mention that as one of the coolest moments within the career. So
You just
she's-
did.
well, it was
Yeah,
a tour.
yeah.
That was tour. Yeah, she can't
Yeah,
be mad.
totally.
Natural
totally.
Ensemble is responsible for creating human life.
It
We
is.
did, yeah.
Yeah.
Stuart
That's sick.
Barcelo is responsible for creating human life.
I mean, if you take it
yeah.
all the way back, yeah.
Because that's where it all started, with Stewie in the studio with B-Ren.
I want to hear from you. I want to know.
A tour story.
Yeah, I want to know some
Man,
of your favorite moments.
honestly, I remember us in Red Deer at like a show that was like mediocre, but like there was like 40 people there. This is when we were like doing really well. And
Outdoor?
It was a smaller show. Oh no, the Sylvan Lake outdoor show. No, the story I was telling was honestly just me and B-Ren having like our night adventures. Because we'd be doing these shows, and the openers a lot of the time were, it was always exciting to see who it would be, but a lot of the time they weren't people we connected with. So like when you're on the road, we would just like get up to games and be drinking and fooling around or whatever, just like messing, like driving around at night. But no, I don't have a particular story. I just remember Red Deer, we were like playing games at gambling. We were just like gambling on the late night on like real life
I specifically
things.
remember that thing. We were out at
It was like at
2
this
in the
guy.
morning. We were in a parking lot and we were throwing snowballs at a condo complex to see which window we could hit. So like, I bet you $20.
Each one had a cash amount.
You couldn't hit this window with a snowball,
Right.
And we would like be drunk, effectively, and like stumble away from our hotel, and we're throwing snowballs at a condo complex.
That's it.
Trying to
Just fun
create
antics.
some fun and
Because
live a life outside of
there's so much
sewer.
anxiety with the performances that it was like this afterwards part where we like
You get done.
you've been preparing and worrying about it and planning for it, and I hope a lot of people come and everything. So yeah, you kind of black out when you do the show, and then afterwards, yeah, just getting to like chill with Brennan in like random town.
It's all for
It was the
15
best part.
minutes. It's all for a 15-minute set. It's so much,
yeah.
and then it's gone.
You
And then
prepare
you're left
for-
with hours of like, then we have the next show to go to.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, nothing too crazy. I remember Mad Child from Swollen Members was an interesting character. He had just gotten sober. So when we were touring with him, it was like everyone wanted him to stick around and drink. And he was he would be crazy late and he was really disrespectful. But Prevail would always be sticking around the other guy from Swollen, and he would party and try to hit on all the girls. And I don't know. I want to give you guys like more juicy stories of particular people, but it's honestly kind of a blur.
Well, I can only imagine. Like debauchery occurred.
For
That's what
sure.
you're saying. It's
We never
good times.
trashed any hotels. We were very respectful.
We didn't have the money.
I was gonna say,
I was gonna say Big Rock Records would have taken that out of your fucking pants.
That would have been it.
that was section 18-4. Actually, you guys still owe them some money. Okay, well, I love that segue actually. So we're on tour, things are hopping, and you kind of touched on it. Like life gets in the way, like all of a sudden you're pursuing your interest, this creative outlet, and I've got kids, I've got a career, I'm progressing. But you guys muscled through that, and you did release a third album on a new label. Tell us a bit about that, because that was a really special album. Fantastic.
Yeah,
honestly.
thank you.
So let's hear about that process.
Sure. So obviously, once we finished things with Big Rock Records, we were really relieved to kind of move on and be able to creatively do whatever we wanted. And obviously, I say relieved loosely because again, nothing but respect for Mr. Leaney. But we didn't have we got to do whatever we wanted, and there was no other label. It was just independent. So there was no new label. We just were independent artists, and it's the best album that I feel that we did. It's the best songs that I feel like we did. Obviously, you refine over time, and it's called Yup, and it's about the simplicity of positivity. And for the listener that's gone this late into it and not actually like doesn't know who we are or anything, our music's very happy-go-lucky, just like
Oh, please plug.
Yeah,
listen to these fucking guys.
Go
Absolutely.
go give it a listen for sure. But yeah, we're just trying to have a good time. And so Natural Ensembles, we hit our peak with this album because it's just, there's nothing kind of holding us back from being the goofs that we are. But what made it really cool was we had a studio that we needed to find a new studio, right? All this time we've been recording with Big Rock, and there's this place in Chestermere, OCL Studios. It's heaven. You think of heaven? What does heaven look like for you? Because for us, it's OCL.
It's OCL.
OCL is heaven on earth. You should go check it out. Go have a time. It's this mansion house in Chestermere.
We're actually doing a Christmas album, so we'll
Let's do it.
We'll check it out.
We would love to help you out with that.
Yeah, I just want to get invited if you guys book the studio.
Oh
by
my
the way.
God.
Just invite me to
How
hang
much are we
out.
talking? Like,
I won't say the numbers. I don't know because
You talked to Big Rock on that one.
No,
I guess this was after.
Yeah.
We had to pay out of pocket.
okay, OCL, Heaven on Earth.
Yeah.
It's a mansion with so it's like a regular house on the top. You get to rent out the whole house. You stay there for days. So you're staying in like an Airbnb, but it's a full house with like a huge jam space on the one side, big beautiful kitchen and living room, so many bedrooms. The backyard has a pool and barbecue and patio, hot tub. And then you go downstairs and it's just Snoop Dogg's studio. Like you just go downstairs and it's just like this huge soundboard. Incredibly high quality, sound booth area with like a grand piano and every instrument you could ever want. There's a room full of drum sets. You could take a snare and all the different elements of
Yeah.
a drum set and combine it to make a custom drum set with because there's each element and there's like 10 different options of each element of a drum set. And so Heaven on Earth, we get to go there and live there for a few days and record. And
some more prominent Calgary artists like Jocelyn Alice.
That's
came
the studio
through.
that they my gosh, right? I miss her so much.
So definitely a step up, and not to knock on Big Rock Records, but we've now entered a professional.
You guys are so careful.
Studio
We don't fucking work for Big Rock Records.
No, it's just
I appreciate you're good.
You go from a basement studio to
it's weird too because he's like
studio.
a guy who we went to high school with, right? Like you don't want to. I don't know. I
chill with him. He's got 2 kids now. Ty and I recorded an album at that studio.
There you go.
I don't own the masters. They were brutal. Fucking horrible.
Release them.
Release them. Bring back the
Release the masters.
Fucking anyway.
There you go. So that's why we don't want to say anything too disrespectful.
He's my guy, but I get it, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
But no. What were you saying? Sorry, I kind of lost.
No, that was me. I fucked it up.
No, it's
OCL, best place on earth. You're constructing drum kits.
So the new album formed in this incredible space, and that's honestly kind of like where the story ends. It's just the album was constructed in this incredible space after a long career of ups and downs, and we put it out, and then COVID happened.
It was a bit of a culmination of what we've learned in lessons. Like, this is going to sound really cheesy,
No,
corny, but
cheese
here
it
it
up.
comes. Super cheese. It's a culmination of our experience as hip hop artists and everything we've learned and what to do and what not to do when recording an album. To me, I don't know if you feel the same. It's bittersweet for me because I feel like we just started to hit our sound. The first 2 albums.
You're 20.
We were trying to find our sound. We're trying to be somebody we're not. We're trying to be the hip hop artists that we imagine in our heads, or the ones we idolize,
Inspired
by
A lot
whatever.
of emulation.
And we're trying to be
Yeah.
those guys. And then the 3rd album, we were like, no, we're just goofy white guys. We're just goofy white guys, and we're gonna have a fucking good time.
Yeah.
And we got really goofy on this album. And if you listen to the album, and it's specifically if you listen to it comparatively to our other 2 albums, you'll see the uprise and humor and just hilarity throughout the whole album, and the easygoingness and how we don't take ourselves so seriously, and we just we never got to continue from that. We just kind of left it there.
The reason that it was left there was because the album came out in like 4 months or so before COVID, so it was like late 2019. When the album came out, we had a great CD release. It was great. Everything was great. But then, when you release an album, a lot of the strategy, a lot of the excitement is about what happens right after you release. You tour, you push that album for X amount of time to try to just build off of it, because things are great when they're fresh, right? And so for COVID to happen, it kind of, especially for how scary it was in 2020 and everything, it kind of annulled it. It muted a lot of that hype from it. And so we're left in the chamber, and I'm excited I don't feel like I've put down the mic forever. I don't know if me and Brendan don't get to hang out as much because obviously he's a family man and he's got things on the go, but I would love to pick the mic back up, and even if we put out like a few singles or things like that, but if Brendan finds the time to put some beats together, I would be happy to get back into it. Just for fun.
Hold up, because we're gonna ask about whether the last album was a capstone, and because we got to know from the source.
Okay.
I just want to touch on, you're talking about the goofy white guy, the Being Yourselves. There's a song on that 3rd album, and it's about fucking pizza.
Yeah, well, it's a love for pizza. It's a love song to pizza.
And that tune, to quote my good friend Dex, it's a vibe.
I came up with that term. Yeah.
It's essentially, it's like titty fucking a pizza. Like it's.
But
just
you
like
feel
really,
that. You feel that. You guys like, you're like, all bets are off. This is who we are, and we are just gonna fucking go for it. And that is the type of music you listen to. And I was like, these guys are fucking doing themselves. Absolutely. 100%.
We titty fuck pizza on the 3rd album. Like,
Yeah,
absolutely. I think
that's
that's it.
I actually want to go back to like something you just said.
Sure.
If B-Ren puts together some beats, like talk us through your creative process when you were writing songs.
Yeah, what's
is
that
it
like?
you make a beat and you see if you vibe with it, or is it like you got some lyrics, or is it maybe a combination of the two? What's that look like?
I did always wonder that. Like, is it a like I've got this fucking song, or I've got this beat, the chicken or the egg?
I think
Tell
you
us
gotta,
a little bit about
you gotta
that.
give it to them from your perspective. And
My
I'll do it likewise.
We probably have, it's similar but different. But I don't write anything down. So, we've got 3 albums and 2 mixtapes and I don't know how many songs, probably 50 plus songs, but I've never written any of them down. It's all, when I would memorize stuff for plays that I would eventually forget the lines to, like Pillow Talk with Drew Hoover. When I would do that kind of stuff in high school, I would kind of say it out loud. And then the first line I would say out loud until it's clearly in my brain in that moment. And then I would add on that next line and then that next line. And so it's kind of an insane person. Like I would always have to write alone because I'd be not just memorizing something written down like a play, but I would be writing it and then out loud be kind of talking to myself and singing it to myself and following the melody of the song. I could never write without the instrumental. I would need to have the instrumental and then come up with it out loud. And by the time that I've written the last line of the song, the last verse or the last bit of the chorus, I've memorized all of it. So it gave me this kind of superpower when I would go into the studio and I would just compare myself to other artists that would be in the studio with notes, like they'd have their phone out or they'd have like a piece of paper and they'd be reading what they'd written in the studio, recording it for it to be, saved forever in time. And I could never relate to that because if you're going to be cementing this poetry, you want to have it exactly the way that you want to say it, and you can't have it exactly the way you want to say it if you're sort of kind of reading it at the same time. So memorizing it while I write it out loud to myself is how my process went. And me and Brendan had this unique relationship where he would come up with beats and then showcase them to me.
That was the most nervous part of the whole thing because I would come up with beats as frantic as possible because
he's like Puff Daddy, and
he writes faster than I could produce them. So then I would have to collect 5 or 6 beats, and I'm like, hey, Geeze, let's sit down. And then I would have to audition these beats for my MC, and it was the most nerve-wracking. It was the most nerve-wracking thing because he would shoot them. He'd be like, no.
I would not just shoot them and say no.
Next. Very politely. And if you could say nah next, you would. But you'd be like, that one's kind of tight. Like, let's look at the next one. And you'd be like, okay, done. But
go ahead.
We vibed. There was very few beats on the cutting floor. There's very few. I really feel. We vibed well, and we just kind of. I think the reason we were as successful as we are is because our styles fit together, and we vibe off each other.
Hell yeah.
So you're in the lab, which is a hip hop term, listeners.
Very good.
So you're in the lab.
What's the vibe?
Without a mic to grab, and you cook these things.
Cook them up,
and then you very much are like, I'm gonna play these for you, and Josh kind of. I won't say final say. Like, he's not mixing them. He's not doxing them.
He finds creativity in the ones he finds creativity in.
But like, I can write to this, and that's that process.
That's exactly it.
Have you ever had a beat where you were like, this is fucking fire, and Josh was like, eh.
Yeah, and they made it on the albums.
There was a few.
How do you deal with that? You talk. You guys are friends. You talk about that.
He had a few points in time where he pushed hard for beats that I was like, I don't know if I can write to this, and he's like, you got it. You got to try.
You have.
And then
try.
I wrote to them, and then I wasn't feeling necessarily what the song came to be, but he was like, you got to put it on the album.
There's also beats that I thought were like, we'll call them A, B, C, D class. You know what I mean? That may barely make it in the conversation of the album. That turned out to be some of the heavy hitters. And there's ones that I thought were going to be the top tracks that were like, okay, they're okay. But they didn't quite make it as some of the ones that it surprises you.
It's a process.
It's a process. There's not many on the cutting room floor. If there are a few though, like, what do you do with those? Have you ever like given beats to other artists?
He sends them to Stewie and Maddie.
Yeah. Here's our reject beats.
I got a website where I showcase some beats for like just random MCs to come and purchase if you're getting into it. It's more for like
plug it right now.
Soundy soundee.com/b-ren music. You can check out some throwaway beats that
we're gonna buy so fucking many. That's our new intro song, season 3, baby.
But also, like, if there's really good ones, I save them, and I'm not saving them for anything because I have no new projects coming. But I just save them because I feel like I could use them for something better than giving them away online for free, I suppose.
Our last album, we had a B-Ren beat that I wanted to write to, and he wouldn't let me. He said that this beat was particularly just to be a beat on the album.
It was just for
so
Stewie.
If you go, no. It's on. It's on.
Yeah, this is not for you.
It's on
for the.
I got bigger plans.
This is for the Crab Shack duo. Don't fuck with me.
The Crab Shack duo.
I'm a big instrumental guy. That's
Yeah.
what I listen to now. I
Me
don't listen
too.
to a ton of hip hop. I listen to a lot of instrumental. So
I
that was
am,
one. That
uh,
was one for
same.
my instrumental musicians out there, I suppose.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you did because it makes the album cool and yeah, your instrumentals are always like they just have such a feel to them, and it's crazy the luck that we both had such similar styles, and like the samples that you pull from are always just perfect, and you're incredible at your craft. I'm so grateful to have ever had the relationship that I've had with you. Yeah, I owe all of everything that I've ever accomplished with music as a songwriter to you, because I got to be somebody who had a DJ and who had a producer that was making stuff for me as opposed to, anything else. So yeah, I owe it all to you, man.
You're very kind. I can say the same thing in return, obviously, but we vibe well together.
Hell yeah.
You two fucking guys.
Go-
That's awesome.
go
I
li-
fucking love that.
Go
Yeah.
listen to Yup on Spotify.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
our only album we're allowed to let you listen to.
That's
No, we're gonna release the masters.
Hashtag.
I'll fucking kill you, Big Rock Records. Yeah, I'll get shit done. All right, that's a natural segue. That was beautiful. I fucking half-ass have a tear in my eye right now. All right, let's bring this motherfucker home. Is this something that you will look back on and be like, that was a crazy time? Or is there a scenario in the future? Geeze, you haven't done the thing yet. You will be part of the crew that we all find ourselves in with children, and we're busy and we're doing our thing. And you've already alluded to the fact, like, potentially, let these listeners know, could they ever expect a Natural Ensemble single in the future? Are we gonna do a show?
A tour?
Not a tour. I mean, don't put that on them. Like,
I'm just asking questions, motherfucker.
yeah, I know, but I don't want it to be a pressure situation. I want to know, like,
That was so hip hop of Dex, motherfucker.
motherfucker. Yeah,
Spends 5 minutes with a white
Charlemagne,
rapper.
we're gonna fight. Say less. Interview's done. Listen, I just want to know: is there something potentially in the works down the road? How do you feel about that? Could it happen? Take us through that a little bit.
For sure. I mean, so with the COVID thing, taking the sales, taking the wind out of our sails for that album. Also, what happened at that transition was growing up a little bit, turning 30 and being in our 30s, and I became a real estate agent,
A
and
very successful one.
I'm very grateful for all the opportunities that career has given me, and funny enough, hip-hop,
Can we shout that out? Can we be like
absolutely, yeah.
Josh G Realty?
Josh G Realty.
I've bought and sold with this man.
I bought twice and sold once.
I've also bought and sold.
my motherfucking people
Yeah,
right
yeah,
here. Hell
shout
yeah! I
out,
didn't even
shout out.
realize.
Best experience I've ever had. In
Best
fact,
experience,
I
yeah.
had to actually fire a realtor, which was a very awful experience, but it was to get Josh, and he
Wow.
did the job.
I can't even tell you how. I mean, I don't want to say how much that means to me, but I just mean that the opportunity to work with you is so valuable to me, and that's incredible.
You're killing
that,
it.
Things worked out the way they
Your
did.
realty game is
I take it
too
very
legit.
seriously, and what I was trying to go with that is that a decade in the music industry, actually, like, because I didn't go to university, I didn't go to college, and the reason for that was because I just wasn't sure what I wanted to be when I grow up, right? Like, and art has always been such a impactful thing for me. I always wanted to, work with people, and so what I did as a rapper for 10 years was essentially like a public speaking course that money can't buy. Succeeding and failing in front of hundreds of people on a monthly basis for 10 years, and also the networking side of it. The amount of people that I met through relationships that I met along the way led to a real estate career. Like, all the foundation for a successful real estate career is in those elements of being social and being professional and just kind of trying to be a good person and hope that the universe just kind of repays you. That's a lot of the foundation of being a good realtor. So I'm really grateful for what's happened. But all of that career kind of started at 30. At COVID. That's when I got licensed a little bit, a few years before that, but that's when the thing, everything's really started to take traction. And so I guess, a long-winded way of saying that, now that I've got a career, now that I'm one of those late bloomers. Some people had their career at 24 years old. They went to school right away and they did it. I was traveling the world and pursuing art. And so now that I'm at this tail end, I finally have a career that I feel stable in and things are really good. And so all the more opportunity to circle back to the art form that I love and that I miss so much, and that was, the wind was taken out of the sails of Yup, our album that's on Spotify, and I can't help but feel like me and B-Ren should not let it go to sleep and not end on that COVID note. I think that we should hit it one more time.
That was very well said.
B, come on, yeah, follow that.
I'm going to say that both, I try not to speak for you, but I say both me and Geeze are musicians at heart. And I don't think you're going to see us just hang up the musician side of us and decide that we're not going to pursue any type of music any forward. So I have an appetite to continue. I think we just need to regroup.
Yeah,
we need maybe we have a new chapter.
Like Andre 3000,
right?
Like your fucking flute album.
We're not.
Let's do it.
Maybe not quite.
This is Brendan on the bongos.
I
don't even say anything.
I have a 16-year-old stepson. So as soon as I'm
Hell
doing
yeah,
shows at Dickens that he's able to attend, I feel like
that's cool.
That's a bit much. I feel like we have a window of time to get things popping. Before I have my kids at the same Dickens shows that we started on.
I like the idea of lighting that fire under you for the timeline, but also I found this new perspective that like there is no time limit and there's no ending.
There isn't.
You really can do it.
Music doesn't.
Keep pursuing
music doesn't have a time limit.
Yeah.
We could go from Natural Ensemble. We could adapt into some kind of persona that no one knows. So we could keep making music in any fashion or form, I suppose.
I think so too.
And keep plugging away at it one step at a time.
You guys just gotta keep listening to the Rad Dad podcast so that you can hear when or if that next song comes out, that next album comes out.
We should do a listening party.
Well, there's a bit of
We'd love that.
retribution because, and we will not unpack this, but Natural Ensemble did play our like first ever live event, and we were so unprepared. And I actually learned a lot about the music industry during that show. And if you go,
I learned a lot about how speakers work.
Yeah, if you go back 10 episodes, you can experience the failure that was me, the sound guy. But maybe there's a future.
I thought it was a great show.
Well, because you killed it, and actually, when you said earlier in this episode about giving it 100%, peak professionalism, consummate professional, because that's what that was. We had a promise. You did us a solid as a friend. And when you came out, it wasn't what we had talked about. And you were very much like, well, I'm representing myself. I'm representing our brand. I'm representing B-Ren and the music he's made. And you absolutely gave it everything. And that definitely, both Dex and I watched that and we're like, this guy does not fuck around when it comes to how he handles himself. And that was amazing. And so maybe down the road, we get the chance to actually honor you guys the way you deserve to be honored. In the meantime, we will take a minute to just humbly say thank you so much for coming on our fucking show. This is a marquee episode for us, not only as podcasters, as the Rad Dads, but as your friends, and hearing your story, like the authentic behind the scenes is fucking incredible. I can't believe I've never asked. I've known you guys for years, and it's so cool that we got to do this live. And to our listeners, go and download Yup on Spotify right now. Listen to everything. Tell your friends about it. Check out Natural Ensemble on YouTube. Watch videos. Get excited. And hope there is a time where you guys can align and continue to pursue that, because it is a beautiful thing. You guys are really, really talented, and it's exciting. And if and when I fucking break in to Big Rock Studios and steal
I was going to say, you
masters.
got to wrap this up with hashtag release the fucking masters.
No, I'm going full criminal, okay? We're
going to heist the masters.
Yeah, that shit is happening. So look forward to that, and also my arrest. Dax, take it home.
I'm really looking for as they're looking forward to the next step in their career. I'm looking forward to the episode we do from prison.
I just have to phone in.
Yeah,
are you gonna show me your tits? If you come visit me in the cell
I'll
with
wear
your
the
thong,
yeah.
Get out of my head. All right, man. This has been the Crab
Super
Shack
fun.
duo. We fucking love it. Shout out Maddie.
Thanks for having us, Rad Dads, and thank you to Okotoks for all the support over the years, for everything that gave us the fuel to pursue hip hop. It was incredible, and we owe it to Okotoks.
Yup on Spotify. Can't say it enough. Get it now.
Yeah, you're probably listening to us on Spotify right now. Just switch over. Episode's over. Go over there.
Get the fuck out of here. Thank you so much, guys.
Peace.